Ojas is a very special Sanskrit word that, generally speaking, means something that emanates a lot of light, that shines very brightly, that glows very beautifully. But specifically in the Tantric context, it refers to a very particular form of energy. An energy which has this capacity to adapt itself, to transform itself into any kind of energy. So if you want, it's like a foundational energy. It's the primary energy that then can take one form or another according to how we need. And this energy is specifically obtained by the process of transmutation and sublimation, by not wasting our creative potential. So how is Ojas generated? If you look in Ayurveda, they have this particular way of understanding the way we interact with food, for instance, yeah? Because in Ayurveda, the gross aspect of food, the nutrition of the food, the actual nutrients, is just a tiny part. It's just the tip of the iceberg of what food actually brings inside of us. And in Ayurveda, Ojas is considered the highest product, if you want, of the biological processes. Let's say you eat something, and this is how you nourish the body. You eat something, and that which you eat, in Ayurveda they say, okay, the first thing which that energy feeds is the lymph and the plasma. So you take a piece of bread, you chew it very nicely, you digest it. Now, some nutrients there, they happen, let's say they awaken, they support the physical processes, but there's also this subtle energy, that is contained in food. The first place that it goes to is in the lymph and plasma. Then from there, it passes on into supporting the function of blood. From there, that is taken and is transformed into muscles. From the muscles is taken and is transformed into fat. From the fat is taken and transformed into bone. From bone is transformed into marrow and nerves. From marrow and nerves, it gets transformed into sexual fluids. This is what they say in Ayurveda. Sexual fluids is not the first thing that gets produced. Sexual fluids is the last thing that gets produced. You need to keep the body going healthily, balanced, and then you have the sexual fluids, which is something that we pretty much know from our own experience, right? You know, when you're sick or when you're very devitalized, when you're not taking care of the body, this part gets very much affected, You cannot have babies. The semen gets very much affected by this. The sperm gets very much affected by this. Now, the sexual fluids, very long time, So there is this process of continuous refinement. Think of it like that, Think of it like a refinery. You take something there, you put it into the refinery, the crude oil, and then you let it become refined, burn slowly, You increase the temperature there, and gradually generates in a few days, this energy that supports the lymph and the plasma and the blood and so on and so forth. And finally, after about 30 to 35 days, the sexual fluids. So the sexual fluids appear as at the end of a very long process of continuous inner refinement. Because what you put in the sexual fluids is the seed, is the essence that needs to be highly refined. And then if you don't lose the seed, then finally that seed turns into Ojas, which is called the Mahadhatu, the supreme tissue of the human being. Because these dhatus, they represent, so to say, the tissues of the human being. Anything you take, from the perspective of Ayurveda, anything you take in, any food and drink, they go through this process, at the end of which first you generate the creative energy, the creative potential, the creative fluids, the sexual fluids, and then if you know how to achieve this final last stage, and you don't waste the fluid, it's like you put your body turns into this super nice refinery there. 35 days to have the most refined product of your being. And then what do you do with it? You just spit it out. Okay, you don't spit it out, what happens? You take it in, you keep it in, and it turns into this subtle light, into this luster, into this very potent force of your being.
What you saw now is an extract from a wide course of teaching men the tantric way of lovemaking, the tantric path of love. It's called amorous erotic continence. We have about 50 courses with different titles, and if you're interested, if that's something you want to know more of, you're welcome to send us an email and connect with us in this way.